Yeah, it's been a bit of a week. The reason that I couldn't get the alerts working straight away um, tonight was earlier today, very early in the morning, I threw an entire cup of coffee into my keyboard and over my audio mixer, my under my laptop, down the back of the table, onto all the wires, onto my switch for the network, the whole thing, right? An entire completely fresh cup of coffee just down the thing with a bit of milk in it just to make it twice as disgusting and sticky and horrible sort of thing. Um, and I've actually broken the keyboard. The keyboard is totally broken. I cleaned it. I may be able to rip it apart. It's one of those keyboards that unfortunately you can't just unscrew easily, but it's just not working at all. So I have a feeling I've got to just order another one. So I'm using a sort of temporary small keyboard, which is, you know. But yeah, it took me about 2.5 hours in total to clean up the mess. And there was a brief period where the network was down because obviously I poured coffee into the router, not the router, the network. Got it all connected back up, but my NAS, whilst it's back online, hadn't been opened by the computer. And I think that's all it was. I think it was something as daft as that because now you've got the logo back. So I should actually have all of the icons I use for streaming on the local hard drive from the streaming rig. Yes, I should. So I'm now drinking my coffee and I'm holding on to it with like a death grip. So dishwasher might clean it. Yeah, I'm trying to imagine selling that one to my girlfriend. Yeah. So I the thing is it's not one of those keyboards that's got like mechanical keys, cherry, whatever they are, mechanical keys. Because obviously I tried to get quiet keyboards. It's a G700, a Logitech G700, nice keyboard, wireless, really good, or it was. But so yeah, I'm probably just going to order the 750 or something to replace it. And I will look. I would try the um, dishwasher idea, maybe. I mean, here's the thing: it can't destroy it anymore. Doesn't Cherry make some quiet switches now? They might, but they're not as quiet as some other keyboards. I mean, I've got Cherry switches on my Orb Weaver, and I'm pressing it now. You can hear it. I mean, I can see it activate on the microphone, whereas for example, my keyboard, the one I use while I'm gaming and recording for Let's Plays, I'll press the keys now. You just can't hear it, and that's because it doesn't have those cool tactile mechanical keys. But for someone like me, silence is much more important. So even the silent cherry ones, the cherry ones, and also some of the keys on this Orb Weaver, for example, the thumb keys. Oh, actually, do you know the odd thing? They appear less volume on the microphone, but they've got a much sharper click because they are mechanical keys. So it's one of those things when I have to really balance it. It's when I get a mouse. I get a mouse I love, and then find out, this mouse I'm using, the G903. It's loud, but to be honest with you, I do have a silent mouse. I have a silent mouse that I use if I'm going to do a horror game, something like that, and I really want total silence. Although at the moment, the thing that makes the most noise during my Let's Plays is my chair. and occasionally the desk. I'm replacing the desk. Yes, I am. I'll get to that in a little while. So if the click is sharp enough, you might be able to filter it out. I'm playing with that on my next Let's Play, on Chapter 7 of Skyrim. I'm trying to find a gate that will cut out any random tapping without it causing too much cutting of my voice. The thing is when I do Let's Plays, I actually have a fairly large range on the volume, of course, because sometimes I will whisper, and then sometimes I will shout. But more importantly, occasionally I will just sigh. I will go, and this means I can't gate too low. So for example, if I gated it at something like minus 35 decibels, it cuts out all key typing, and you can hear me speak clearly, but there's a little bit of delay on the attack. So you don't quite get the same natural feeling when I'm speaking, and you occasionally, in fact more than occasionally, miss some of the more subtle cues that I use when I'm doing my Let's Plays. So although it sounds like a good idea to gate things like that, it's actually a better idea to try and minimize the sound that is in your room. Compressor might help. I use a compressor as well, but a compressor doesn't get rid of low-end sounds. It doesn't get rid of low-end sounds. In fact, if anything, it brings low-end sounds up. So lower threshold set just above the gate cutoff. I mean, this is the thing. I tweak the settings quite a lot. I'm playing with the gate now. I'm using a very, very weak one for Chapter 7. I'm putting it at about minus 55 decibels, which if I press the mouse keys like so, even though the microphone just does register it, you might not even hear it, but the microphone registers it, my Let's Play will cut that out. But if I tap it hard enough, you'll hear it. So I am playing with it. I'm trying lots of different things. It is this constant fight between trying to get the audio correct versus personal preference. So, you know, for example, with a keyboard, with a mouse, wanting one that's got a nice feel, but at the same time, not wanting one that you can hear that clearly. Yeah? Now, I can press them softer, but you have to do it so that if you do press them in a hurry, you don't hear them as well. You can hear people talking. That would be my family in the background, so it's not a lot I can do about that. So yeah, it's the same with headphones. I've got a set of RS-180s Sennheiser that I've had for about 8 or 9 years, and I'm beginning to suspect they may be losing some of their range. Either that or my own hearing, because I'm beginning to listen to my own voice in the Let's Plays, and I feel like there's a bit more, like, I don't know, I feel like there's some distortion, but I can't tell if it's the microphone or the headphones. It could be because I've not been using a pop filter for a while. My microphone has a built-in pop filter, but for the longest time I used a separate one, so I had 2 pop filters. It might be when I get a little loud, a little close, or a little high, the extra pop filter makes a difference. So I'm playing around with it, but it could just be that my RS-180s are so old that in actual fact it's the headphones that are going. So I've been trying to find a spare set of Sennheiser RS-180s and cannot. The new version is the 185s, and they look a little heavier, and they don't have the 3.5 jack, and there's ways around all these things. Apparently they use a different frequency though, so they're more likely to drop out. They're more like the RS-220s, and I tried some RS-220s, and I actually got disconnects from the base station, so I would lose audio every now and again, which was very annoying. But the RS-180s used an old frequency, which gets far enough for me. I mean, I only need it to go maybe... Well, I actually only really need it to go about 10 feet. But if it can go 20 feet, 30 feet through a couple of walls, that's nice. And the RS180s do that. But they do use a different frequency to the RS185. So I am a little bit worried. So it's one of those things. It's a tough existence for an old man like me who has found something that they like, that they really do like, and the RS180s are that's just perfect for me. They are absolutely superb. What is it I prefer about the wireless aspect? Exactly that, the wireless aspect. I've got so many wires on my desk. I've got so many devices, but I also have this microphone stuck in my face. And when you have a wire at the side of your head, it's amazing how much that wire makes contact with your chest or items around you, or gets in the way, or might get caught. And when you're playing and you're not doing Let's Plays, you don't notice it. You just tug the headset. If you get caught on something, you just tug the headset. Or if you know, for some odd reason it's just in the way of your mouse, you'll move it quickly and you don't think about it. When you're doing Let's Plays, things like this get really in the way, especially if the wire actually hits the microphone. You have HDR 175s, you can walk to the end of the driveway 100 meters or so. Does it ever cut out? It's just some people reported the 175s and the 185s had the odd cutout like the RS220s. It was just the thing with the RS180s. It's the older model and it uses a different frequency, I believe, and it's just... Yeah. So anyway, yeah, for having a wireless experience on my head is really useful. It really is. With all of these, like this microphone and a pop filter in front of my head, the pop filter is very close to the right side of my chest. And I could imagine if I turned my head with a wired headphone, I might smack the pop filter with the wire, which again might not sound like a big problem to you, but it would mean in the middle of a Let's Play, you might hear something like... And it's I try to minimize things like that. So the wireless headphones, they've just been and of course it gives me a lot more freedom of movement without risk and clutter on the desk. Remember, I've got 3 computers here at any one time and I'm actually moving between them. Even during a Let's Play, my left hand, you know, sometimes when I stop and I speak to Inigo, what you don't realise in the background is my hand might be reaching over to one of the other computers in a wireless environment to press something else to make sure some other part of the recording is working. So having as wireless as I can get, wireless mouse is a really important thing. That's great because you've got these new mouse pads that charge the mouse. So while the mouse is wireless, it's never out of power because it's just always being charged. That's brilliant. Keyboard's less of an issue. My gaming keyboard, for example, because that's totally stationary. I do like to have a wireless keyboard for the normal work. That way I can move it backwards and forwards in and out of the way. But everything else, I try to go wireless as possible. Thank you for the sub, a Merry Bear. Carrington T, thank you for the resub. Same to Goodbrand, 1899. Viking Wing, thank you very much. So I like having a wired mouse so that when I drop it from the sofa, it doesn't hit the floor. My sofa is way away from my PC, so it's not a problem. But yeah, so it's one of those things that once you go wireless, it's hard to go back from wireless too. So, but they don't make these bloody headphones anymore. They don't make them. So I might have to go to the 185s, which do look nice, but they are a little heavier. Oh, and for those of you that are wondering if you look, one of the other reasons that I love the 180s, and I'm thinking the 185s, is they're both open headphones. This is one of those times where closed headphones would probably be better for someone making a Let's Play. Thank you, Blue Daedric Dragon, for the resub. So, the closed headphones cut off all the noise, and that means you get less noise bleed into the microphone. So, closed headphones would actually make more sense for a Let's Player. But the downside to them, there's two downsides. Open headphones sound far more natural and far more authentic, the sound. A little less bassy. A lot of people like closed headphones because it amplifies the bass and makes the head vibrate and things. But the actual sound quality you get on open headphones is generally better. But the second reason I like open headphones is I can wear these headphones for about 10 hours and barely even notice I'm wearing them, even though they are over-the-ear headphones. And that is purely because of the openness. There's enough air going in, and more importantly, there's enough air escaping from the warm speakers that it doesn't warm my ears up. Whereas when I wear closed headphones, after about 2 hours, my ears they get hot and sweaty. And after 5 or 6 hours, they would just be cooking on my head. So, yes, Sennheiser do make stupidly comfortable headphones. They are very, 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 very good. So these 180s I love. If I could find a shop that still sells 180s, if I see a shop that's selling them, I'm going to buy them. I might check on eBay or something. It's just, when you find something that works perfectly for you, it's very hard to step away from them. And especially when it's something like headphones rather than a mouse. So anyway, AKG headphones are even more comfortable. It might be. I mean, the thing is every time you change something, though, you've got to get used to it. So the advantage to me finding another set of RS 180s, just in case this set is going on the fritz, is I know I love them. And I do. I absolutely adore these headphones. I've ordered, the spare cushions? I've ordered 6 sets since I've owned this. Now, that's partly because the one flaw with the 180s is the very, very weak connectors. So when you remove the headphone covers, there's a small chance you'll break them. So that is partly because of that, but it's also mostly because they do get disgustingly dirty after a while, and I've had them for so long that I like to change them. So there you go. Anyway, so that was the nightmare today, and I have just rambled on about that for forever. Now, believe it or not, I was planning on doing some other rambling before I discussed news, and that was about my health. You may have noticed I wasn't streaming on Tuesday, and there's a basic... The reason for it is I was not feeling very good. I had a bit of an accident on Friday. For those of you that don't know, I was going to England for a university reunion in Liverpool, and I was taking my 12-year-old daughter there to spend time with the family. So we were getting ready to leave on Friday, and just as we were leaving, I pulled my back. Now, most of you know I have suffered from a bad back for years. I had an accident many years ago and ripped a muscle, and I'm prone to doing it. And I did it just as we were about to leave the house. Just as we were literally getting our stuff together and walk out of the house, I did it. And I did it badly. Really, really badly. To the point where it almost put me on the floor. I managed to get across to the bed, and I was supporting myself, and I wasn't even totally sure whether I should sit or lie, because the problem is when my back gets ripped that badly, once I sit or lie down, there's a chance I can't get back up for several days. And I was obviously in a bit of a panic because we're supposed to be travelling. So I lay on the bed for a couple of minutes until the pain really passed. And then I got up, and it was touch and go for about 30 seconds. It was touch and go as I was attempting to get up and holding on to things. It kept trying to put me on the floor. It's very hard to describe. Anyone who's ever had a serious back injury knows exactly what I mean. It's not even about how painful it is. It's just your body stops responding properly. Now, the pain's not the worst thing. It's just you're trying to stand up, and it's almost as though your body gets taken over by someone else who says, no, no, let's just go down. And it's really strange. When I did it one time, I couldn't even lift my feet off the ground. When I lay on the ground, I couldn't lift a foot off the ground. So I couldn't, like lift a leg or anything. Not even a fraction of a millimeter. It's the weirdest thing. My body just refused. It was absolutely refusing. Like, it was just not responding. So it was kind of a little bit worrying, as you can imagine. And I was absolutely sure that there was no way I should be going to England. I knew I shouldn't. It was completely stupid, but my daughter had been looking forward to this for months. It was her birthday present. Plus, everyone getting together for a reunion. I really didn't want to let people down. So I managed to get on my feet. I got an old sports girdle thing. I stuck it on. I walked around a little bit and thought, we're going to do this. We're going to try this. We're going to try this. I took a bunch of ibuprofen, and then I said to my daughter, right, we'll go to the airport, and if I can make it onto the plane, I should be okay. Because that's the thing with a back injury. If you can stay on your feet for a little while, and stop it from getting inflamed, you might be okay. I mean, I say you might be okay. You're not going to be like, doing the Grim Fandango, but you might be able to hobble around. If you lie down and you let it relax for a while, it can inflame, and then you're done. You're not getting up for a couple of days. So we managed to get to the to the airport. The bus travel was the worst part. But after we got through security and we were walking around, I started to really think, you know what, I can do this, and I can do this. And we got on the plane, and we changed it to Denmark, and I managed to get out the seat with just a little bit of messing around. I just used the armrest and then used the overhead thing, pulled myself up, and then I knew it was going to be okay. And we did. We got to England. I'm so glad we did. Not only did she have a great time, I had a brilliant time. I had an absolutely brilliant time. And the thing is, I know it was partly the alcohol, and it was partly the fact that I was chugging ibuprofen like they were Smarties. But I actually did feel not so bad. I really did. When I got back to Norway and I stopped taking the painkillers, it hit me a bit. And this week's been a bit, I'm stiff, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm tired. I get tired so... yeah. Do not do as I do. No. I'm telling you this, but I'm not encouraging you to do this. So... Oh, I had no problems with my stomach. But I did start, actually on Saturday night, the biggest danger was I started to feel so damned good. Come 1:30 when everyone else was like, well, okay, we should go now. And I'm like, no, let's go to a club. Let's go out. We were already in a club where I've been screaming. The music was so loud. I lost my voice the next day. The music was that loud. But I started to feel so good. Let's go out. And I went, oh, we're too tired. So they decided to go home, so I went home. And I'm glad, because I could just imagine me ending up in the emergency room after trying to do some limbo or something. But I wasn't high, like, mentally high. I wasn't even very drunk, but I physically did not feel any pain. Anyway, had a great time, met all these old friends, managed to get back, stopped taking the painkillers. The back did start hurting. But what I will say is, in previous moments where I've damaged my back, it's taken me usually 3 or 4 weeks to get to the point where I'll be able to walk outside properly, and months before I feel particularly comfortable. Less than a week after I did that injury, I have to be careful. I have to keep reminding my kids that I've got a bad back so they don't jump on me. But I have recovered so much faster this time, and I think that's because I've been going to physio for the last year or so, and doing some new things for my back. So I think my back is stronger and more balanced. That was one of the big problems after that original injury. I ended up compensating for it. I didn't realize it, but my physio said, yeah, you've been compensating for it. And so you've been shifting onto one side predominantly, and that's actually made you even more vulnerable. So she's been balancing me in the back, as it were, and I've recovered so much quicker to the point where I've already started doing exercises again. I've already started exercising stomach and back, leg exercises, and I'm probably going to go to the gym tomorrow. I'm going to be careful. I am going to be careful, but I'm already... So, although it was a bit of a... Cleaning the desk earlier, yeah, Quarico pointed out, cleaning the desk and everything did not help earlier. That's the sort of thing that really, really gets me pretty tired and sore. So I've had a few, I've been more uncomfortable today, but I'm already feeling better. So I think overall it's been good news, stupidly enough. I did have an injury. It was bad, but the physio I've been going to for the last year or so has really helped. And, you know, there are signs that I may one day be able to do a little more of my old normal routine than I used to. A bit more physical activity. And I mean, I still do a little physical activity, but it's all very controlled at the moment. So that's good news. That is good news health-wise. No, I will never be skydiving again. No, that's definitely never going to happen. I mean, I've got very little interest in that anymore. It would be nice to do some of the things I used to do, but skydiving, I just not, you know, I damaged one of my ankles. I can't even remember which one it was. I tore the ligaments on it as well. So I mean, like, I've got a plethora of issues because of that particular sport, but I can't blame that one for all of them. So, or dismantling toilets and getting cut by them. God, did I tell you guys that story as well? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Do you remember that one? Good grief. I really need to stop telling you guys all these stories. Sound like a nutter. Honestly, they all made sense at the time. They didn't seem nutty at the time. Just, you know, some of them seem nutty now when I look back on them. Actually, some of the ones I've probably never told you sound even nuttier, but that's mostly because I'm a little older and wiser now. Like, here's a hint for you kiddies out there. Do not attempt to walk down an Olympic black slope in your normal shoes. Don't do it. If you're a Brit, you're probably thinking, that doesn't sound too bad. If you're from a country that actually skis, you're going, you did what? Walking down an Olympic slope in normal shoes is essentially base jumping. it's I know on TV ski slopes look like little hills or something, right? But when you're on them, they look like cliffs. They look like bloody cliffs. They feel like bloody cliffs. And if you slip even slightly, that's it. You're going down that cliff. Now, it's not quite a cliff. There is a slope. And if you just basically try not to bounce and lie against the slope whilst you're falling, You will hopefully sort of slow down in a slightly less terminal manner than you would if it was a cliff. But if you bounce, and you know it, when you're going down that, you're just thinking, please don't bounce, please don't bounce. Because if you get like about 2 feet off the slope or something, you're probably not going to make contact with the slope until you get to the bottom at that point. It's like, that's it. Now you're evil Knieveling. And there was nobody but me and my friend on the slope. So if we'd have had a serious accident, oh God. Yeah. Gopher is somewhat of a cautionary tale. Yeah. This isn't a podcast. Well, I suppose it is a podcast. It's certainly not a bloody gaming podcast, is it? Oh. See, yeah. Yeah. You have to remember, though, I am English. And there's 2 important things about being English. One, we don't have skiing and ski slopes, and we're not really accustomed to it. And the second thing about being English is we're a nation of people that find it very hard to accept that the planet or nature could challenge our superiority. It's, I remember when I first went snowboarding, first time I'd ever gone snowboarding, it was with a Norwegian girl, and it was in the north of Norway, Harstad. And she said, okay, it's your first time, don't go very fast, and whatever you do, don't go down that slope. You all know what happens next. You all know what happens next. The only thing I'll add to what happens next is I did break 2 ribs, but being British, did continue snowboarding for the rest of the holiday, 5 more days or something, 6 more days, because this is the other thing about being British. We never miss an opportunity to take advantage of something we don't have. So, for example, if we go to a sunny country and then get sunburn on day 1, it doesn't matter. We're still on the beach sunbathing day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It doesn't matter if the skin boils off us. We're still going on the bloody beach. So even though I had 2 broken ribs, I was not gonna not snowboard while I was there. I still have a lump on one of the ribs. It's just... Again, kids, do not do as Gopher does, yeah. And it's not me, it's not just me. I believe it's a British thing. You can just... Because all of my English friends have been nodding, going, that sounds perfectly reasonable. We went, oh my God, we went out. This is the, like back to the original story of me being in the UK. So we're out in Liverpool and we're walking around all of our old haunts. We're like, God, you remember that club? Where's the Continental? Bloody hell, they've knocked the building down. Where's Flintlocks? Flintlocks was one of the most divey, nasty, probably suicidally dangerous clubs you could go to. We think we found it. It's one of these like dark alleys. We think we found where it was, but it's surrounded by all these like fairly nice clubs and bars now. Liverpool's just got so much more nightlife than it did when we were there. So we're running around doing the whole, where was the cream? Oh, it was over here, and and going in bars and having a really good time. But it was pretty cold. Believe it or not, it was colder there than in Norway. And it was even raining a little. And one of the things I forgot about Brits is when we go out, we don't wear jackets or coats. We don't wear jackets or coats for 2 reasons. One, if you put it down, someone will steal it. And 2, you have to find somewhere to put it down, because like there's not, if you're going clubbing it or something, where are you going to put it? You might want to put it in a cloakroom, but that means queuing for half an hour, maybe longer. And if you suddenly go, oh, let's go to somewhere else, you've got to queue and go get it. So we just don't, okay? We're also pretty used to ignoring the weather. The weather in Britain won't kill you, so you can kind of get away with it. It's also very changeable, so trying to dress for the weather is almost impossible. However, I've been away for too long. So we're walking down the road, And there's all the guys in, trousers and shirts, and they're all, I'm thinking, geez, that looks cold. But then there's all these girls running around in the smallest skirts and tops that I don't know why I even call them tops. I'm going to call them middles because they cover like their breasts, right? But they don't cover the shoulders, often don't cover their stomachs, don't cover their arms. And there's just naked women running around all the time. And you're old when you're surrounded by lots of female flesh jiggling about and being rained on. And all you want to do is turn around and scream, "Oh my God, get dressed!" It's not that I'm mortally offended by the sight of flesh, but God, come on, it's freezing. I'm like, oh my God. Seriously. Some of them were barefoot. I'm like, oh, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But that's English people for you. That is English people for you. I'm going to go out, I'm going to look sexy, and I don't care if a blizzard comes, a monsoon, I'm going out. I tell you, Quadico, if Australian weather happened in Britain, it would wipe the Brits out. It's just who we are. We'd be like, oh my God, there's a fire-nado outside. And everyone would be like, yeah, but I'm drinking up first. It's just. Yeah. Is one of Gopher's kids a girl? 3 of them. Got 3 girls and 1 lad. So yeah, but yes, we did the entire nostalgia run. On Friday night, I was picked up by my friend at the airport. We drove to Liverpool. Before we went to the hotel, we sort of parked in the university car park and we're going around the old student union and, just doing the whole, everyone could see instantly that we were old students, because we were like walking around as well, especially me, going, oh my God, this used to be there and this used to be there. And, you'd walk in one room and it'd be like, oh, this room's still here. The Mountford Hall. Wow. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, actually. So, went to the old halls of residence, and that was a real nostalgia trip. But we were gutted to find out that because we were both in Derby and Rathbone Hall, right opposite Penny Lane in Liverpool, and they'd redone the entire place. But they'd made en-suite places for the students. It's like, you get a room with a bathroom and a kitchen. It's all en-suite now. Whereas when I was there, in my day, it was, you had a bloody room, and there was a sink in it, but that was it. You shared a bathroom, you shared the toilet, you even shared a kitchen with like 25 other people. Someone just gifted subs. Gnos. Is it Gnos or Nos? We're going to go with Nos. Thank you very much. So, and that was how students were supposed to live in halls of residence. You had your room, but everything else was communal. But I found out that not only had they gone all en suite, they no longer had catering. So you didn't have the dining hall. We used to go down for breakfast and for evening meals, which were made. They had catering staff come in, and it wasn't brilliant, but it was like, it was school meals, but it were all right, actually. I kind of liked them. And it got you out of bed at the weekends, which was nice, because you had to get there before 9 or you missed it. But it was a great communal thing. You'd go downstairs and you'd see everyone for breakfast or dinner, and you'd queue for dinner. I really enjoyed that side of university life. And I'm like, it's just not the same. It's not the same. And then they said, yeah, no, there's not even a bar anymore. What? Yep, no bar. No place for music, dancing, meeting. It's just rooms now. It's a hotel. And I'm like, you've just ruined university. You've just destroyed the entire point of university as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean, like, what? You're not there to study. You're there to experience a side of life you'll never experience anywhere else. It's just, it was just wrong. It was just so wrong. Yeah. So I was mortified, horrified. But, you know, it was still very, very cool walking around it. With the place that used to be where they used to have the food, they turned into a really super gym. It was like it had all these spinning machines and jogging machines, and we did the whole grumpy old man thing. Kids today spoiled because they had a gym. They did have a gym when we were there. It was in the old powerhouse. It was the old power station house, a square building. And it had giant iron doors that were locked with a padlock. You'd go and get the key from the porter, and you'd go in through these massive iron doors, and you'd go in, and there was a ton of free weights and a punching bag, and it was freezing cold. You know, there's no heating, no nothing. It was like old. It was an old building for the power station, like old school, Rocky style. Yes! And all these students now are in this fancy, heated, well-ventilated thing with spinning things. So yeah, we're doing the grumpy old man. But as you can tell, I just had such a good time. Such an epic time. We're going to do it again. We are definitely doing it again. I've never done reunions before. My 50th birthday last year was the first time we'd ever done anything like that, and we only had a few people turn up, but none of us had done a reunion for anything ever, but we loved it so much that we all agreed that we had to do it again. So there you go. So now we've got the intro out of the way, shall we get onto the gaming news? I don't even know how long we got left. Not that long. Oh, yes, I'm 50. I've even got a picture of the cake my mother made for me. And she made me a cake with the Gopher logo on it. It was awesome. I posted it on Twitter, I think. There was some Fallout 76 news, wasn't there? There's been lots more hacks. I say news. Is it news when it's the same news sort of thing? It's old. They had another hack, and the guy who made the hack's going to plan on another hack. But you know, it's just the same old Fallout 76 news. But they've also put back the Wastelander release, haven't they? That was supposed to be soon, but now it's not so soon. And yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't have much hope for that. I will try it. And just to give it a fair shot, I am going to use the Chrome Orb Weaver thing instead of my normal keyboard, so that I don't have to rebind the movement keys, because I'll bet any money they still have not fixed the rebind problems on Fallout 76. I'm right, aren't I? I'm right. They haven't fixed it. If you rebind the movement keys to arrows, you screw up the settlement building side, right? No, thought they did, right? So there you go. So I will give it a fair shot. I will use a one-handed keyboard that I never ever use and bought specifically for games that failed. But I'll give it that fair chance. But I don't have high hopes. I'm really, yeah. So, but the other news this week, well, it's been like just over a week now, is that Blizzard are once again in the news for failing. It's Blizzard and Bethesda right now, isn't it? They've got a bit of a competition going. It's like, oh yeah, you think you've annoyed everyone? Wait till you see this, because they've re-released Warcraft 3. Now, we did discuss this last time when people were talking about how they now own your mods, which does sound very shady, and apparently is there to stop, new games springing up from their game without them being able to monetize it, which is such a AAA company thing to do right now, isn't it? Oh, our game has got a mod that's so popular that people are still playing the game with this mod, but we don't get to make any money off this. And, then they make an actual game from that. It's a little, crappy. That's annoyed everyone. But apparently the game itself isn't all it was supposed to be. And everyone's very, very unhappy with it. And they're not refunding all the people who are not happy with it, which is really bad because apparently a lot of people were having trouble even playing it. Even the people who had the original game, which they no longer have because they've replaced the original game with this new game that everyone hates. So that's brilliant. But they're now allowing the refunds, I've heard. So that's all gone on this week. They've now refunded all copies. Well, that is good, but I think at this point that was just a sort of bare minimum, wasn't it? Out of curiosity, what about the people who bought the game years ago and it's now been replaced with the new game? Can they get refunds? Or are they just totally and utterly screwed? It's like, yeah, no, you used to have this game, but now you've got the new one, and if you don't like it, tough. Because that's kind of annoying. You have to pirate the game to get the old version back. That's just sad, really, isn't it? That is sad. So, yeah. The gaming news has not been good news this year. We've started 2020 with a bang. So, yeah. This is why I only buy my games on GOG now. Good call. I have a link for that, Look at that. Shill plug. Dun, dun, dun. Wolfclaw's going to be really happy with me for that. Dear, oh dear. Quadico falls over. Thank you very much. Sterling has it right. It's Blizzard Activision all the way now. Yeah. I mean, Blizzard really have been... It's Bethesda and Blizzard. They didn't just do one thing to annoy the customers recently. It's just like a series of things. And they seem to be unable to not do them. And then the CEO comes out and has to do his apology tour, sounding about as sincere as one of my kids. Yes, no, I won't do it again. Oh, promise. Sorry. Can I go watch TV now? And then, 2 weeks later, they're at it again. Failed management. So yeah. At least Warhorse is getting like triple the budget for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Well, that is good news. That is good news. Let this be a lesson to you people. Don't have idols. Don't idolize a company. Idolize a game. And only idolize it as long as it can't be updated remotely without your permission. I honestly think that should be to some degree like illegal, maybe. It's a tough one because, of course, we don't own games the way we think we own games nowadays. I've done this one before, but we don't. Should we own them? Probably, at least in this particular regards. I don't think Blizzard should be able to essentially change the game you've bought without express permission from you. So I honestly, even minor updates should be something you agree to. I think, even minor updates should come through. You should be able to say, no, I do not want those updates. But that's it. And I honestly think you should be able to roll back as well. I think for games like this, you should go, no, this is not the game I bought. I want to go back to the version I bought and go back to it or something. But, yeah. The law never caught up with this particular trend. Legally speaking, it could be forbidden. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because we do not know where... Okay, what was that? Someone just resubbed, but it's not appearing on my little mini feed, which is annoying. Have I missed any others? My apologies if I have. Yeah. I mean, the law is way behind on all digital stuff, to be honest, as are most of the bloody companies. I mean, the music industry was so far behind on the internet, as was the movie industry. Even the games industry has been constantly caught with its pants down. But then some of them try to get ahead of the law, and the law itself is not keeping up to date. Yeah. How do I feel about missing out on Legacy of Dragonborn version 5? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and upgrade to it at some point. Probably by about chapter 9 or something, maybe 10. I've got a plan. I am going to try. But if I miss out on it, I miss out on it. It's just the way it is. It's, upgrade requires a new game. Yeah, I know I'm going to try on my old game. I'm going to give it my college best, as I've discussed. Because I will not be doing another playthrough of Skyrim Special Edition, obviously. Leonard is my last Skyrim character. I mean, I've got Skywind and Skyblivion, but Try It was the VR version. I don't think I'm going to be playing Skyrim VR either. So I think Leonard is my last playthrough. And I would like to see Odyssey, to be honest. That's the biggest reason I'm going to attempt the upgrade. But, we'll just have to see. It's going to be one of those projects that takes a little time and there's no guarantee of success at all. No more Skyrim. Yeah, right. Dude, when I say there's going to be no more playthroughs of Skyrim, Leonard should be going on for quite some time. I've started on chapter 7. I'm halfway through episode 1 of chapter 7 now. I've got chapter 8 and 9 planned. I think there is actually going to be a mini chapter somewhere in there. So technically that's chapter 10 planned. And that hasn't covered anything like the DLC-sized mod things. So, beyond Skyrim's, currently we've got Bruma? That's a chapter in of itself. They may release other Beyond Skyrim ones, so there's more chapters. You've got that Forbidden City, perhaps. There's a few others. We're probably talking a few years. We're probably talking a few years of Leonard. And hopefully at some point during that period, Skyblivion will come out or Skywind will come out, and I'll be doing complete playthroughs of that. So then there's another couple of years of that. And in the meantime, In the meantime, I'm hoping that we'll get Starfield and eventually The Elder Scrolls 6. So, you know, I mean, I say it's my last play of Skyrim, but who knows? Who knows? I said that about Richard, didn't I? But there would be a gap. I wouldn't stop playing Leonard and then just start playing again. I would need some sort of delay. So yeah. And of course, if I do manage to upgrade the Legacy to the version 5, I will do Odyssey. I mean, there's got to be at least a chapter in Odyssey looking at the size of the content. So you are talking a long time. There will be Leonard. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, I mean, and I am still working on my New Vegas load order. And I've actually rebuilt it mostly. I actually will show you. Odyssey of the Dragonborn, yes. Let's just... So yeah, I've managed to rebuild my... Can you believe it or not? I don't actually have the option to show you the entire game rig full screen. I haven't set that up on this particular setup. Oh well. So I've currently got a pretty close approximation to my original load order, and I was testing out one of the old saves, and it's currently missing NVEC, and I think I'm going to skip NVEC because it is very... it's not recommended at the moment. I've not installed a World of Pain because I really did not use it much. So I think the risk of removing it out is balanced by the advantage of not having that in the load order. LFox is missing ammo. Right. I'm still using that mod, but I upgraded it and it's got a different ESP. So that's a change. Dynavision 3 I've removed. I did notice Dynavision causing slowdown when I was playing Fallout California, so I decided to run without that. Wirtz, I've upgraded it, now uses an ESM. And Flight of the Valkyrie has now been replaced by a new mod, Ride of the Valkyrie, which is a similar mod actually, but lacks an ESP. And the pre-order shotgun fix I really do not need, but I'm actually using a mod that combines all of the fixes that the mod author who made that. So I'm still using that technically, it's just in a different ESP. I'm not using the 357 Retex because I still have it. I couldn't find a latest version of it. I'm going to wait and see what the 357 looks like. And that was it. Oh, Better Burned Man is missing. So Chasm has been upgraded, now uses, it's now got a different name on the ESP. It's Chasm with MCM, and I've not made a merge patch yet. And overall, it seems to be working okay. How do you find Vortex in rebuilding? Is it very different or more difficult than MO2? No, it's relatively easy once you get used to the differences. Well, it's a different way of thinking. That's the problem with Vortex, I think, for most people, is it is a different way of thinking. So yeah, you end up with a completely different mentality. If you approach Vortex and try to make it Mod Organizer 2 or Nexus Mod Manager, you're going to fail and it's going to frustrate the living daylights out of you. You've got to think in a completely different way. You have to think way more long term, and you have to think more of a stitch in time saves 9 rather than I'll quickly move things. So yeah, as you can see, I missed this. I even installed... Look! Oh, I'm missing... Oh, yeah. I've not set the keys up because I've updated the companion control. Because I've updated it. Yeah, it's using all the wrong keys. Stop teasing. It hasn't crashed yet. Yeah, so I'm going to run around and test it and see, you know, visit a lot of locations. But at the moment, I think the Jack load order is actually working. Now, oh, I'm getting some slowdowns there. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a little stuttery. I may need to work on the settings and get it working a little better, but it doesn't crash. That's the important thing. Go to the schoolhouse. So that is the important thing. I've got a few mods though that I may have to remove for Frontier. If I'm going to be doing Frontier, I can't have the weather mod apparently. And I don't know if you know this, but New Vegas without a weather mod looks awful. Dude, the schoolhouse. Yeah, look. Hey! See? The guys are all here. So, yeah. So I'm going to have to uninstall that. And there was a few other things I have to uninstall as well. But, honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. There's Jack. Frontier probably has its own weather, but for some odd reason they suggest you can't have one that adds weather to the rest of the Mojave, which is kind of annoying. Okay, why does it... Oh, right. Probably because it was... Now it works. Look at this. Oh, I love the sound. I know. The talking armor. The nostalgia. So, yeah. So, I am ready for Frontier, I think. I think Frontier, when Frontier gets released, I will be playing it and we will see the return of Jack. I do need to mess around with a lot of setting because I did see some stuttering there or low frame rate. I can't decide what. Frontier has been cancelled. Don't even start with me. Do not start with me. So yeah, and it was not that hard to get it working in Vortex. It was not that hard actually. But then I'm sort of used to Vortex. I've got used to the way it does things. So yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing this a little longer than I'm supposed to, but then most of it has been... What do you mean it's been officially cancelled? What do you mean it's been officially cancelled? It's not been officially bloody cancelled. Has it? I'm still on the bloody Discord channel. You better be trolling. Yeah. You're definitely trolling me. You're definitely trolling me. We're not even going there. I'm on God knows how many bloody... You know what? I should get rid of some of these Discord channels. Takes me longer to find. Okay. Yeah, no. Casting call link, that was made. I've literally just unblocked Unoctium. No, you need more of them. Oh, well. Yeah, no, they're still auditioning for a few voices, and the main guys, or one of the main guys, is still posting announcements. The Frontier Developer Log. So, pretty sure that means not cancelled yet. Don't do that to me. Oh. Hey, Gopher, only post the gaming bit to YouTube for a laugh. Shortest podcast. You think I should just leave all of the intro? All of the intro. When does South Park return? I finished it. I finished South Park. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for this completely and utterly newsless podcast. The only news really is I got the jack load order sorted, really. That's pretty much it, isn't it? Thank you for joining me anyway. I will see you guys next time. And of course, I will hopefully be streaming on Sunday with Quarico when we return to Divinity Original Sin.